Jandre. I'm so happy to talk to you today again about business, social media, making money. How are you?
Business and marketing. That's it. I love it, man. I love it. Nice to be here. How was your paddle?
Great.
I
I've
hope
got a bit of a paddle problem, but anyway, it was actually my birthday earlier this week, and I had a paddle party as well. So I do
nice.
have a slight paddle problem, but we're working on it.
It was my birthday last week, Thursday, on the live.
Oh, really? On what date?
When is your birthday?
The 23rd.
Oh, I'm the 19th.
Oh, really? And what did you do?
Oh, we just chilled. It's just another day for me.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I'm not a big celebration birthday kind of guy.
That's interesting.
Yeah. No, I'm not. Like I literally. I mean, I was on the live here. I had a couple of meetings. On the weekend, we just had a braai with.
Was it your birthday when we were on the live?
Yeah, but
Did
I mean,
you
like,
say?
wow. Like, what does it matter? Like, I'm not here because, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't.
Oh,
It's like I'm not really a birthday kind of guy. People who know me will tell you, like, Jandre's not really someone who celebrates his birthday. Like, I don't mind it, but it's like I'm not going to be someone who's like, hey, it's my birthday, please come. Like,
so my friend actually arranged my birthday party because it was another.
well, that's what happened to me. Well, we had someone arrange it on my behalf. And it was
Because
literally family and like three of my closest friends, and that was it. 3 or 4 of my closest friends.
Oh, that's great. But she just wanted an excuse to play paddle. So she arranged a whole paddle party for me, and that was so much fun. Yeah.
I must say, I enjoy paddle. I've only played it twice, but I can see why people get addicted because
It's so nice. Yeah, that's great. But anyway, here we are live again, back to work. Hello, guys. If you're watching, say hi in the comments. Last week, we had such a nice chat about websites and how to make websites more converting. And it's actually something that I've been thinking about. And we don't often think of what people go through when they are in the process of buying. And I was thinking to myself, walking into a shop. So why does shops like Checkers or Woolworths or whatever do certain things? We don't even realize it, but they want to make it a pleasant experience for us to buy, of course, and also to pop ideas in our heads. Oh, what about this? What about some snacks for your kids? Things like that. You're like, oh, I never thought about that. And when we are online, we don't often think of these things. We don't think of giving people suggestions or ideas. And they're very happy to spend more if they just have the idea of what to spend it on. So I see people are joining. Guys, go over to the comment and say hi. I'm so happy to have Jandre here. Always amazing to have him answer all your questions, all your business-related questions, social media questions, and even life questions.
Amazing. Yeah, I think last time we had a good chat. I think a lot of people got some value from it. I think we unpacked the lady's website. So I think if there's anybody who maybe has any questions about their business from a marketing perspective, from a business perspective, if you want us to audit maybe some of the stuff that you're doing, always happy to help. But to touch on the sales psychology is something I've been studying since 2012, and I think that is the only reason I think that I have succeeded, and the word succeed is very subjective, but I think it's the only reason, the main differentiator between an amazing marketer and business owner and someone who is mediocre or is not really seeing the success that they want to see is understanding sales psychology and how customers behave when it comes to their purchasing decisions. I think it's so crucial, and it's the most neglected thing, because I always say that there are 2 pillars when it comes to a successful marketing strategy and a successful business strategy as well. And this is more the front end of the business, not the back end in terms of logistics, but more like what do you put into the market. And if you look at it from a marketing lens, then there are 2 pillars. And those 2 pillars You can't have just one of them. The whole strategy falls apart. You need both pillars standing very firm in order for you to succeed with your marketing. And those two pillars are, the one is technology and the other one is psychology. So those are the two pillars that you have to combine in order to really start seeing success from your marketing efforts. Now, when I say technology, that will fall into categories and platforms like Facebook, Google, email, SMS. Today, we live in a world where technology has adapted and evolved in such a way where you can leverage it in order to get people to see and take note of your business and brand. So technology would be anything from understanding how to send a WhatsApp campaign, how to send an SMS campaign, how to send an email campaign, how to run a Facebook ad, how to run an Instagram ad, how to use Instagram, how to use TikTok, organic reach in order to get more exposure, how to leverage technology in order to get the brand seen. That's the first pillar. Now, I mean, something else that I didn't touch on is the website. You know, the technology the website's built on, Shopify, Wix, WooCommerce. Then understanding how to leverage that technology and from a technical side to make sure it's functional when someone comes and wants to buy the product from you. So technology is extremely important, but something that is even more important than technology, and this is about 60 to 70% of the equation. So if this was a formula, then technology only equates for 30% of the success, and psychology equates for about 70% of the success. This is my perspective. This is my personal opinion. Not a lot of people will agree with me, but this is what I believe, that psychology is the second pillar, and psychology is important, so important that it's formed 70% of the equation. Because without you understanding the consumer, you won't be able to price your product accurately. You won't be able to articulate the value behind the product. You won't be able to articulate the unique selling points behind the product. You won't be able to really get people to buy. So technology allows you to put the message of the brand out there, but psychology is what gets people to actually open their wallets. Psychology is what gets people to go, I want to buy this product and not another product. I want to buy this product instead of a competitor. I feel this product is worth my money. And that all boils down to psychology, and that's understanding the actual consumer and what to say, how to position your message, what creatives to use, what copy to use, what kind of ads to run, how to structure your website to increase your conversions. All of that falls under the psychological pillar.
Wow, that is so interesting. So I'm going to ask you a few questions now. So guys, if you are watching, please tell us where you're watching from. Maybe ask a question or two. It's always lovely to answer your questions, but just go over in the comments and tell us, hi, you're here, you are watching. So what you're saying is two very big pillars, technology and psychology. And if you get those right, well, chances are good that you're going to have success. So the psychology is very interesting. I really find it so interesting because if we think about it, why would someone not want to spend maybe 600 Rand, 700 Rand on a nice bag, you know? But some people are willing to spend 70,000 Rand or 80,000 Rand on a bag. That sort of just blows my mind. You know, like sometimes when it's at the bottom end, we like want to have like 100 Rand off, 200 Rand, but then there are people that spend 70,000 Rand for a bag. And that is just, it blows my mind. And it's the same with cars. And those people truly understand the psychology of marketing. So I see, hi, Anthea. Anthea's here from the gym. Hello, Boost Gym Wear. Jonita is saying she is watching. Who do we have here? Captain Mojo. Good morning. Good morning. So yeah, that's really such an interesting thing.
To elaborate further, I think most people, they either get one of the formulas, so they don't get everything right. So they get a certain thing partially right. So if you look at it, they might spend 30,000, 40,000 Rand on a website with some really, really clued up people. Maybe they go to one of the best agencies that build websites. and they put this beautiful website together. But now most of their money is invested into the site, and they don't actually have money for marketing. And that's where a lot of people find themselves between a rock and a hard place, is that they have this beautiful technological website, but it's not really psychologically appealing to the customer, potentially, or the client doesn't have now enough money to go and leverage the actual technology in order to speak to the customers from a psychological aspect. Or sometimes you'll see that people have a lot of money, so they might be spending 10, 20, 30, 40,000 Rand a month on marketing or more, but they're not getting the return on investment they want. And that's because their message is not resonating with people on the other side, and that is psychology. So it's really understanding that if your marketing campaign is not working, it boils down to two things. It's technology or psychology. And it's about combining those two in order to really increase what we call your ROAS, which is your return on ad spend. If you're going to be spending 10 grand a month on ads, how do you get that to drive 50,000 Rand back, 100,000 Rand back in revenue? And I think it's psychology that makes the biggest difference at the end of the day.
Wow, it's so interesting. So this makes me think of a practical example. I always try to put it in my head as practical as possible. So one company that really fascinates me with their marketing, and I never thought about it in this way, but now looking at it, their technology and their sales psychology is so spot on. So one company that's just been amazing over the last, I think it was just when we came out of lockdown, was Checkers. So here they was launching this Checkers 60/60 app, and there were some other companies launching apps as well. And I wanted to experience this whole thing, because on the one hand, I know that sometimes you just need to get things out, but on the other hand, it is so important that when you get people, for instance, on your site, that it's working. So what Checkers did really well, in my opinion, better than, for instance, Pick and Pay, and I'm not affiliated to any of them. I just really love to go into, understanding what they do and why they are successful. So Checkers came out with this app, and the app was just working brilliantly from day one. So how I came across this app is they just had this barcode in the newspaper, in the report, like the whole page was a barcode. There was nothing else, just a barcode. And I was like, what is this? What is behind this barcode? Like, I don't like it if people market something to me, but this was sort of like getting to me. What is behind this barcode? So I scanned the barcode, and there it was, the app. I had to do it. Like, I first ignored it. I went back. I scanned it. And since then, I had the app. Okay. But then the app worked brilliantly. It was fun. It was they had all these fun things, and it was very relevant. Like, that was just out of COVID, so they would have like COVID rescue package or something like that. And it works brilliant. But then Pick and Pay also came out with ASAP. I also downloaded Pick and Pay app, and oh my word, was that app full of problems. And you know what? We are 4 years down, about 3 years, 4 years down the line. I still use the Checkers app. I've tried again with the Pick and Pay app. I couldn't. So on that side, the technology was brilliant. But then what did they do with the psychology is how they aligned them with brands that we love. For instance, with the Booker, and thinking of what you just said, trying to make it practical for me. I'm thinking of them. Their technology is brilliant. Their app works. But the psychology.
Well, also, that the main psychological tactic that they used in the newspaper was what?
Nieuwsgierigheid?
Curiosity.
Curiosity, yeah.
Our brains are designed to be curious, and we cannot. It almost irks and it burns our brains if we are curious about something we don't have the answer to it. So obviously, not everybody is the same, but majority of people are what is the word? Suckers for curiosity. So in essence, they've used curiosity in order to get people to scan that code. Because if they said, hey, here's this new Checkers 60 app, You can get all your stuff delivered on demand. And here's a QR code for you to scan it. I can promise you that people that would have scanned it would have been a lot less. I mean,
I wouldn't have scanned it.
We had a similar tactic on our website yesterday. I mean, we're running a R5 sale on our fragrances. And we
R5. Wow.
So we're running fragrances for R5. So it's a R5 sale for 3 days. And we've made the most amount of profit we've ever made. Obviously, we have ways to make that happen, but it's ridiculous. We had 500 orders yesterday, and only 16% of people took the R5 sale. So it was such a huge curiosity driver that when people saw the R5 sale, they went, "Wait, what? Let me actually go check this out. Like, this is ridiculous." And I was a bit nervous when I launched it because I came up with the idea, and I was a bit, I was thinking to myself, I can literally screw ourselves over with this. But the reality was it worked like a bomb. But in theory, it plays on that psychological element. You know what I'm saying? It's that psychological element of people. We got 10 times the amount of traffic. Wow. But yeah, I think in essence, people need to understand that psychology is the name of the game. And if you are struggling to articulate the value of your product, the unique selling points of your product, if you're struggling to create curiosity when it comes to grabbing attention and stuff like that, then life will be a little bit harder and marketing will be a little bit more difficult, essentially. And I think a lot of business owners do struggle with that. And even when they get it right, it's not a linear thing. It's something that you have to work on every few months because people get used to the same message. So you have to constantly try and innovate how you speak to your customers and keep them, excited about what you have to say as a brand. And I think a lot of people don't really see it that way or think about it that way.
Well, it feels like you did a Black Friday sale before everyone else. Was that the idea?
No, it wasn't the idea. I wanted to run it for Black Friday, but I wanted to test it first.
Oh.
So it was more of a test than anything. And so far, I mean, we've still got 2 days left, but we had a really successful day yesterday. And, that business is on track to do about, I think, 3 million this month. So that's a really good a business that we've built there. But the reality is that, a lot of people might sit there and go like, wow, why can't we get it right? And I think it starts again with one thing, is understanding your numbers and understanding how your customers behave. Because a R5 sale makes no sense. There's no way that you're going to make a profit on that. So when you tell another business owner that they need to do a R5 sale, they'll tell you that you're crazy. But if you understand how your consumers behave and your customers behave, then you can tweak things on the website in terms of pricing and strategies in order to make sure that you don't run at a loss. And that's what we did. We psychologically put certain things in place so that it will be very difficult to run at a loss on a R5 order. So in essence, how did you market the R5 sale? So we emailed, SMS'd, WhatsApped, and ran Facebook ads and Instagram ads. So it's still going. You can look at on our website. It's still there. But it's mainly we're using it in ads mainly more than anything else now, because we're actually looking for new customers. So we're running it to brand new audiences that's never bought from us before. That's the main thing for the next 2 days, because we're looking to acquire new customers.
I think that is such an important point that I think a lot of people miss. So you are willing, you're not making a loss, but you are willing to actually make a loss to acquire new customers because you know your numbers and because you know those customers you're going to acquire, you can keep them there for lifetime. And I think that is quite an interesting concept of what am I willing to do to acquire new customers. Maybe you can talk to us a little bit about that part of the numbers.
I think the reality is that, like I said, business owners don't know their numbers, and I think it makes their lives difficult, because what happens is that they have a marketing person, or they do it themselves, or they have an agency, and then what happens is, the client says, well, I need a 4x rise or a 5x rise or whatever it is, and when that 5x rise is achieved or 3x rise is achieved, the business owner looks at their bank account and then realizes that that money hasn't come in yet. That money might be stuck in cost of goods on bulk orders. It might be stuck in payment gateways. And they then get very anxious and stressed out because they don't know where the money is going, and they don't have transparency on where the actual money is going and how it's happening, and where's it, like, how is it contributing to the growth of the business. And I think that lack of insight creates stress and anxiety, and then it makes you make decisions, very bad decisions for your business. I see a lot of business owners go into panic mode. They start stressing, and then they start pausing the ads, or they fire the agency that they're working with, or they switch to another agency who said, listen, we're going to give you 5x the returns. Like, we're going to double your sales overnight. And I see it all the time, is that people, it's nobody's fault but the business owner's fault, because they don't know their numbers and they're not creative enough, or they're not working with the right people. And they're not bouncing ideas on how to actually innovate the offer in the market in a psychological way that people actually want to give you their money. So in terms of touching on your question, it's acquiring a customers it's the name of the game, because there's only two ways to grow a business. Is you need to find new customers on a monthly basis, and then you have to bring as many of them back on a monthly basis too. So those are the only two ways you can build a business. You can't build a business on repeat business only. You will not be able to scale. And at the same time, you can't build a business on new customers only, because then every month you start at zero. So you have to find the balance between finding new customers and bringing people back. And most businesses struggle with this. They either just find new customers and they don't have enough products and innovation in the back end to bring people back, or they don't have an aggressive strategy that's out there to find new customers whilst the retention rate is really high. And they don't get that balance right, essentially. And that's why they also get stuck. A lot of businesses are also scared to spend. That fragrance business, for example, we spent 10,000 Rand last year this time on ads. This month, we're spending 500,000. So we're spending literally 500,000 Rand on our own marketing for that business. But it's because we can track all the numbers through our finance tracking tool that I can exactly see what the net profit is. I know exactly what the net profit was yesterday. And because I know what the net profit was, I know exactly what percentage of that we can take and spend on, we need to spend on tax, we need to spend on growing the business from an operational structure, and we need to spend on the business from a marketing perspective as well. And I think a lot of people are not business owners. And this is I hope I'm not offending anybody. I'm saying this with the utmost respect, is that when you have a product and you are building a website trying to sell that product, that doesn't make you a business owner. Having your name on a piece of paper that says this business is yours doesn't make you a business owner. I'm sorry. Like, I think that we should actually have every single business owner go through a series of courses, or it's like almost feel like you need a license to run a business, because most people, I believe that with my heart. Obviously that won't work, but I believe that a lot of people are not business owners. They're passioneers. They found products that they are in love with, or they're creating products that they're in love with. And then what happens is that they have someone who can try and help them sell it, but they never start to take the accountability to actually become a business owner, and the business outgrows them. So they might be doing well when they're doing 50,000 Rand a month, or 100,000 Rand a month, 200,000 Rand a month. But the moment the business does 300,000, 400,000, 500,000, a million, 2 million, the business starts to outgrow that person who founded the business. And they've never transitioned into a business owner, and they've never grown along with the business. They've never upskilled themselves on how tax works properly. They never upskilled themselves on what their net margins are, what their gross margins are, what they have to spend on marketing. They've never really, and they rely on so many other people to give them advice. So they pay this agency, they pay that company, they pay this, they pay that, and they blame everybody else if things are not working, and they never blame themselves. And the quickest lesson I've learned is that you always blame yourself. You always take accountability. We've lost hundreds of thousands of rands with bad suppliers, and it's never their fault. It's always my fault. And then I go, how could I do this better next time? I need to learn this topic a little bit more before I do it again. I need to clue myself up a little bit before I embark on this journey again. And I think a lot of people have the excuse they don't have time, or they say, well, I'll rather pay people to help me do that. And that's fine. But you need to then take accountability for who you're hiring. And you need to then take accountability also for that partnership, who you're partnering with. So if they're partnering with you, for example, you the coach, but now it's your job to educate, but it's their job to implement. Same with an agency. Is like, it's our job, for example, to consult and give advice and to implement, but it's the business owner on the other side's responsibility to help us come up with new ideas, to help us test new messages, to help us, be communicative with us, so that we can essentially create new content, freshen up certain things that needs to be freshened up. And I feel like a lot of people lack accountability when it comes to their businesses, and they never transition into an actual business owner, and therefore they don't grow the way that they want to. And that's just my little rant for the day. And I hope there's someone who takes something away from that, because I truly believe in my heart and my soul, my life changed when I decided I need to become a business owner. And it's almost like I read every single book I could find. I bought every single course I could find. I got mentors on board. You know me, right? The conversations that you and me have over the last 2 years, how much of that changed? Like, I can see the growth in you, and I hope that you can see the growth in me. But we both growing alongside our businesses. And that's what we have to do as business owners. And I think a lot of people don't see it like that. They just go, well, I'll just have people tell me what to do. No, you become the CEO. And guess what? The CEO dictates what happens. And I don't think people start to take that CEO responsibility.
That's so true. It makes me think of, so Janita is saying 100% correct. There are so many skills needed to be a business owner. So I often think about this in a way like this. So say, for instance, this is what I often ask people if they come to me: is this a good business? Why not? Why not? So the question is really, if you woke up today and suddenly you woke up and you're like, oh my word, actually, I'm not me. Actually, I am Richard Branson, who's a very good business owner and entrepreneur. What would he do today? Would he be able to make this business successful or not? And that often makes me think of what are we as business owners not doing or not doing right? Because why can this business be given to someone else and they can make it massively successful? And exactly the example you gave of when you started or when you became part of this business, you only spent 10,000 Rand and then you had to fix everything. And now you're spending 500,000 Rand. That is a lot of money to be spending, but it's bringing in the money. So yeah, that's incredible. So I just want you to maybe give Anthea some guidance here, because I can see Anthea is going in ahead. Okay, how did you do this? Are you targeting a broad audience? Is it a top of funnel campaign? So in my mind, that is more like tactics. I think we have to step back and think, what is the strategy? So before, we can't go into tactics if we don't understand what is the strategy. So even for her in her business, it's not about what tactics do I need to implement. It's about maybe taking a step back and thinking, okay, what is the strategy behind this?
100%, I agree. And I think, Anita is saying she agrees. Thank you, Anita. There's many skills needed. Ray is saying being a business owner is not a static place. Have to keep learning new things and implementing them. Amen. We're ultimately accountable for our own businesses and learn from our own mistakes. 100%. I think, Magriet, you're 100% right. Like, there's tactics and there's strategies. And I think strategies is the top level, and tactics are, the granular things that you do on a daily basis. And I think too many people get lost in the tactics and they don't really think about the strategy. So, for example, from Anthea's question, on a granular level, we spent probably 35, 40,000 Rand yesterday on ads. To get 280,000. I think we did 280,000 Rands worth of revenue. So then, top of funnel, broad audience, everything. We did top of funnel, we did middle funnel, we did broad, we did specific targeting, we did lookalikes, we did everything. So it's like, when you're spending that amount of money, there's not one little tactic that all that money is going to go to. 40,000 Rand is not a lot for some bigger businesses out there, but 500,000 Rand per month, and that's probably going to be 600 next month, and it's probably going to be 1 million over Black Friday. I think people don't people underestimate how much marketing money is needed in order to grow a business successfully. And their margins are not good enough to support that. What people are not realizing is that the competition is increasing on a daily basis and your margins are shrinking on a daily basis because of the fact that it's costing you more to acquire customers. And you as a business owner need to figure out how to improve your margins so that there's more profit in the business for you to actually spend on marketing to keep acquiring new customers. Because the only way you're going to scale your business is to spend more money on ads. Like, people think that they're going to spend 20 or 30 grand a month on ads only and keep doubling their revenue. We've had people, we've had people come through our doors and we would say, listen, we can afford 20 grand a month on marketing. Cool, great, amazing. So we go from 100,000 rand a month to 250,000 rand a month with a 20 grand budget. And then they go, cool, now we need to get to 400. And we go, okay, cool, but now you need to spend more. No. We can't spend more. We need to get there with the same budget. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. But this agency said, or this guy said that we can get a 10x rise and you're getting a 5x. It's like, listen, if that person gets a 10x rise, that's probably going to be for a day or two. Like, what you're doing is you are now looking for silver bullets, and you're looking at tactics and you're not looking at macro strategies. And everybody then starts to make bad decisions because they make the decisions with emotion as opposed to reason and logic. And I think this comes back to our conversation. The biggest difference between a small business owner and a billionaire and a millionaire is what? What did I say? Small business owners are 80% emotional, 20% logical. Millionaires are 50% emotional, 50% logical. Billionaires are 80% logical and 20% emotional. That's the reality. Like, are there billionaires that are more emotional? Absolutely. But if you put 100 of them in a room and you had to do a calculation on how they reason when it comes to spending money and growing businesses, 80% logic and data driven, where small business owners are emotional. They listen to every single person and they take their advice, and it's because they don't have the skills to look at the numbers and actually make sense for it themselves. So yeah, I think that's my take on it. The strategy is the macro, tactics are the granular, and you need to understand the broader strategy. And then with the broader strategy comes what? More time, more patience, more understanding. And then you need to look at the data on a daily basis to help you support that macro strategy.
So let's see. There are some. So Anthea is saying, I always have creative ideas, but struggle with the how to implement. I think that's coming back to the bigger picture. And I think
the thing
also
is, I also just want to say there's like, I think Anthea and I, we've connected once and we've had a really fruitful conversation. Much love for Anthea. But it's keeping things simple. It's like, we as business owners think we think that this idea is now so amazing, but the reality is it's so complex too.
Yeah.
We complicate things. I'm not saying this is Anthea's problem. I'm saying this is a lot of other people's problems, is that people overcomplicate things for themselves. Building a business is extremely simple. Does it mean it's easy? No. So there's a beautiful quote that says, it is, I think a billionaire actually shared this with me at some point. He said, Jandre, it is that simple, but it's not that easy. And what business owners do is they think if they, because it's hard, it has to be complicated. No, it's hard, but it's also simple. And what makes it hard is the simplicity, that the degree of simplicity that you have to commit to. So there's only a few things that you need to do right, but those few things are very difficult because it's more about a mindset than anything else. Because we live in fear. Oh, I can't afford to lose this money. I can't afford to do this. I can't afford to do that. Oh, I can't take this risk. I'm going to do it myself. I'm not going to pay this person because they're cheaper. I'm going to do. Because we live in that survival mode, we make bad decisions, and we are then looking for ideas that are actually complicated to execute, as opposed to sticking to the simple things that we should do, but that's just very difficult to do. And I think it's simple, but it's not easy. That's my take.
Yeah, and I think what happens with us a lot of the times, if we implement a strategy like that, we would be so emotional on the granular ups and downs that it just bombs us out. And it's so important to just step back and take a big picture view.
I mean, we had this conversation when we were in Cape Town. I mean, I said this to you. You were like, oh, I need to push. I need to do. I was like, listen, where were you 12 months ago?
Yeah.
You know, it's also, and I had this conversation yesterday with someone. I was like, you need to reflect on the broader spectrum and not on a daily basis.
And that is where the emotion comes in, because if you're not a billionaire yet, you can't, you're not 80% logical yet. So Ray was just asking again about the 5 Rand perfume ad. Explain the strategy. I just want to say before we go there, that this is so interesting because I actually experienced this long ago with the other coach, and then they would say, we did this, and then suddenly everyone wants to do it. I think the important thing is that it's great to hear that you had the strategy and that it worked, but the idea is not that we all go and implement a 5 Rand strategy. It's about understanding that we need to think, what is the outcome, what is it that we want to achieve, and then there are different ways of achieving it, because it can so easily happen, we must do this, we must give it, and that can be very dangerous, because like you say, if you don't know your numbers and you do something like this, it can really not be great. But maybe you can take us just back to like the thinking behind it. So like Ray also, she loves to start with the end in mind, and a lot of the times people say, I want to do this, but why? What do you want to get to? So maybe how you were thinking about it with the end in mind, and then working it back to, okay, so this could work.
Well, the way I look at it is that I need to acquire customers for me to grow my business, right? That's purely how it is. I mean, in V8 Capital, we now have 5 or 6 companies in our portfolio. And the number one goal is to find customers at the cheapest cost. So, I mean, I'm not going to share too much of my trade secrets here, because this is something that I've, like, obviously there will be other ideas too, hopefully. And I'll share as much in my inner circle. Just sign up here for 1,000 Rand a month. But no, I think the macro of it is, to be very frank and to be as candid as possible, is to, like, how I thought about it was, I need to put an offer in the market that is going to grab people's attention. And then I need to make sure that I can afford to run that offer without running at a loss. So basically I was like, can I come up with the most absurd offer? Is that possible? And I was like, no, probably not. And then I thought to myself, well, let's just play the game of what is actually one of the most absurd offers possible. And I thought, a 5 Rand sale. So I was like, well, okay, if it's going to be a 5 Rand sale, the objective is to grab attention at a very low cost. Then I thought to myself, if someone clicks on the 5 Rand ad, how are we then going to make it that we don't run at a loss? Because Warren Buffett's number one rule of building a business is what? Never lose money. But that's more theory than practice. Like, it's almost impossible, but it's like, you need to always try and not lose money. So come up with ideas to not make you lose money. Because he says a lot of people get very reckless with their money. And I think that is the bottom line of what he's actually saying, is don't be reckless with the money. So if you think about Warren Buffett and he goes, don't lose money, how are we going to attract a customer for 5 Rand at a 5 Rand sale and not run at a loss? So we have a perfume. And what we did was, we essentially only applied it to the 15 mil. We applied a coupon code to it, and we said only 1 per customer. And essentially that's what we did. And our shipping costs are usually, we made it 49 Rand. We've had very low shipping costs, but we've made the shipping cost 99 Rand. Our average shipping cost is about 80 bucks if a cost to our company. So we're making 20 Rand on the shipping in terms of profit on average. And then the 5 Rand is just a little bit of money. That's not money that we're getting back, but it's looking at the fact that we've gotten 25 bucks from that customer in theory. So if that's profit, technically, right? It's not profit, but we got the 5 Rand plus the 20 bucks shipping. That covers most of the product cost. And then what we need to do is, we need to make sure that more people actually spend more than the 5 Rand. So that's the goal, is to just draw people in, but then get them to spend more than just the 5 Rand. So the strategy allowed us to attract a lot of people, and 83% of them spent 450 bucks on the site.
Oh, wow. That's incredible. Because I was thinking to myself, like, I would not buy something for 5 Rand only. Like, I would literally.
Well, what happened was, this is the psychology of it. And this is now the trade secret, essentially, is that the 5 Rand sale grabbed attention. And then people use the coupon to get the product for 5 Rand, but then they have to pay 99 Rand shipping. And they were like,
Uh,
I'm not going to pay the pain, the grudge purchase between of paying for shipping is so bad that people do two things: they either leave or they add more products to their carts because they feel like they're saving money on the $5, so they might as well add another product to their cart in order to get more value out of the transaction. And I think that was just interesting to see how people behave. But yeah, I don't advise that anybody does this without looking at their margins properly, because there's businesses who's going to probably try that and then run at a massive
please,
loss.
guys.
And they'll be like, oh, it's all
Don't
Jandre's
all
fault.
go around a
I
five
am not
sale now.
advocating this. I am a daredevil when it comes to these things. Like that is, I'm not someone who takes huge risks, but because that business is profitable and we don't live out of that business, I can literally get as creative and innovative as I want with it. And I think that's why we like running our own businesses too, is because it gives us insight, because now we can sit with a client and we go, what are your numbers? Can you actually afford to do this? And how are we going to diversify the risk for you should you do it? And hopefully, try our best to not make you run at a loss. But yeah, I think having our own businesses allows us to be on the front end, literally on the forefront of testing and innovate all these strategies, and then apply it to our own clients down the line, hopefully as well.
So Ray's touching on a very important point here, and that is now making sure that you retain those customers, because that is then ultimately where the strategy is going to bring in the
Well,
most money.
I want to respectfully disagree. Yes, the idea is to retain as many as possible, right? Absolutely agree with that. But I'm saying, if you think about it, only 16% of people took the $5 deal. So it's a matter of looking at it going, the day was profitable. So it's a matter of looking at it going, the day was profitable, very profitable actually. And yes, we now need to look and take care of these people. But if we didn't get it right, the business has still succeeded. So it's not an end-all, be-all situation. For most people, it will be. But I think if you know your numbers well enough, then you can run a $5 sale, make profit on the day, and not give. And not, if nobody had to come back tomorrow, that'll be okay. But a lot of businesses can't afford that. So I think what Ray is alluding to is that if most businesses will run at a loss. So in order to get that money back, the LTV of those clients and those customers are going to play a crucial part down the line. And I think that is very important. So I do agree with you, but there's a different perspective on the matter. It's going like, even if it didn't happen to us tomorrow, I will be okay. And the company will be okay. And we actually would be happy with the end results regardless. But not a lot of people can do that.
Okay, so yeah, that's so interesting. Wow, I think and it's a great test just before Black Friday. I don't know if there's any Black Friday questions. We actually did speak a lot about Black Friday. I see we've got a question from Elite. How do I build a strong team for my startup? Well, since you have a very good team, Jandre, I said you said last you've got how many? You've got quite a big team, right?
I think we're about 30 people in the company. Yeah.
And that is another big challenging part of the business is, number one, getting the right people, and then number two, getting the best out of them, that they actually want to first of all, that they must also grow and also want to give their like their energy to the company.
I think I had this conversation with someone last week, and they were like, yeah, got this person and now they're like working for me. I was like, no. You need to stop right there, my friend. You need to understand, at least this is my perspective, is that if you hiring someone, you are now working for them. That's how you should think. And I get so annoyed and pissed off, actually, frankly, just get pissed off when people say, oh, my staff member, or oh, they can't do their job properly, or like, oh, la 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 la. It's like, if someone, it's such a superior point of view to think that you now, because you own the business and you've hired someone, that you're better than them. That is just an effed up mentality. But what you don't understand is, like, when you hire someone, you are working for that person. You have taken, it's like having a baby. You've taken responsibility for that person, their lives, their goals, their dreams. It's your responsibility to create opportunity for them in your business so that they can keep growing, keep feeding themselves, and continue learning as much as possible so that they can be the best version of themselves one day. And I get so pissed off when people just hire people and see them as numbers and go, They work for me. They need to. I'm sorry, I'm getting a little bit worked up, but it's like, this is not obviously what
No, it's
these
very,
famous talk, but I was like,
it's
I
so
believe
important.
that it's your number one responsibility now to make sure that that person can actually grow within the environment that you've created. They're not there to directly, indirectly, yes, they are there to help you grow, but it's not about seeing it that way. It's about making the pie bigger for everybody in the business, for you and for them. They are there to walk a path with you so that you can continue building this business. Now, yes, there might be people who join your company who might not care about that, and they're just there to take their money, and they're there to just do this thing that they enjoy, and that's all they want. But I can tell you now, 80% of Gen Zs and all these new kind of like generations, they want to be part of something. And that makes me excited because I'm a big fan of camaraderie, and I want to make people part of the journey. And I want to see people succeed. And I want to create wealth for people around me. That is my goal. And that is my responsibility. And I had a staff member leave who got double the salary, and I knew we couldn't afford that. And I felt like a failure. I was like, I would try my utmost best to ensure that no person who actually doesn't want to leave has to leave. Like, if someone doesn't want to leave this company, but they are doing it because of financial gain, and they don't have a choice because it's just where their life is, I feel like a failure. And I said to myself, I will never, ever, hopefully, find myself in that situation again. And if I do, I want to know that I tried my best to ensure that we can afford that staff member at a fair rate for what they're doing for the business. And I think that's what that is the biggest anxiety and stress that I have, is that can I continue creating opportunities for the people around me, and can I continue constructively adding value to their lives, from a theory perspective by teaching them what I know, but then also from a financial perspective where they can improve their own immediate lives, surroundings around them, and then hopefully creating a family vibe where people feel like they want to work with these people. And those are the three things that I believe you need. You need the mental challenge of the job that helps you grow mentally. Then you need the culture, where it's a place that you actually want to go to. It's people you want to work with. It's people you want to do favors for because you actually care about each other. And then that third thing is then the financial gain. And all three of those things need to work in harmony in order to help you build the business, not for yourself, but for everyone around you. And I think that is my take on it. It's like the moment you hire someone, that person is now a family member, and you need to make sure that they can put food on the table. You need to make sure that they can get a raise at the end of the year. You need to make sure that hopefully, now, yes, do some people have ridiculous expectations? Absolutely. All within the parameters of a fair value exchange. Okay. I'm not saying that there are some people who are completely obscure with what they expect, but it's like, as long as the value exchange is fair. And I feel like a failure when we get more than what we actually give. And that is the biggest anxiety I have, and the biggest stress I have, is that can we continue building a business that actually supports the people around us and their journeys, and help them become the best version of themselves.
Wow, that is so well said. So, Elite, that is your it's Elite Gamer X. That is how you build a good team. You have to understand that you need to become the servant, basically. Yeah, that's so beautiful. Thank you so much, Jandre.
Bigger picture for everybody. That's really it. It's like you need to build that picture for them and for yourself. And I think a lot of people go, well, if I hire these people, I can create this life for myself. No, we can create this life together. And I think that's really how you start attracting also the people who truly care about you. And I think people pick up, hopefully if you're authentic about it and not fake about it, you will start to attract people who see that authenticity and who want to be a part of that as well.
And it makes me think of that concept of no one who's successful got there on their own. So yeah, thank you so much. I see our time is done. Thanks so much, Jandre. Always good. So much inspiration again. So guys, if you watched, please just leave a comment below. Maybe say what you took from this. I think for me, I really, once again, it was good to be reminded of the fact that we as business owners are too emotional on things and not looking at the numbers, because, and I think, I don't know if it's overall or maybe women, we are emotional beings. We like being emotional. That is our safe space. We don't want to look at the numbers. That is not our safe space. That's out of the comfort zone. So I think that was a good reminder for me today. So I also want you guys to say what struck you. What did you learn from this session? Yeah, I mean, there's just so many things, but I think, yeah, thanks so much, Jandre.
I think the biggest reminder that I would love to share is that if you're building a business, then you need to become the business owner that is actually has the skill to create that business that you have dreamed of. Is like, we have this huge dream, but we don't take accountability to become the business owner that we need to be able to run that kind of business. And the universe, God, source, whatever you want to call it, is going to bring challenges into your life. And those challenges will contain lessons, and those lessons will give you the skills, and those skills will help you become that business owner that can build that, whatever you want to call it, for everybody around you. And I think that we shy away from those challenges, and we get upset about those challenges, and we get annoyed and frustrated, and we cry, and we go like, why does nothing want to go my way? It's because you're seeing it as a penalty and a punishment, as opposed to the actual event for what it is, which is a blessing, so that you can learn the skills that you need to learn to become who you need to become, to build the thing that you want to build. And I think we just look at it completely the wrong way.
Oh, so true. Yeah, thank you so much. Thanks so much, everyone, for joining. I think I'm definitely going to ponder on that. Become the business owner that the business needs to make your dreams come true for yourself and for the people around you. So that's really a beautiful
Take accountability.
What?
Take accountability.
That's the thing. Who says, okay, good stuff. Thanks, guys. Fish on the line, Ray saying, always very inspirational. Yeah. Thanks so much. It was all awesome. I am off to my next meeting now in Stellenbosch, so I got to go. But thank you so much, Jandre. Always lovely chatting. And then we'll speak soon. Thanks so much, guys.
Bye.